every single person who excels at anything, whether it's a world-class musician, a titan of industry, or simply the most dependable person you know, shares a terrifying secret. They weren't born great. They were born average. And yet, they all unlocked a level of performance that looks like magic, but is actually a brutal, relentless philosophy. It has nothing to do with talent, luck, or some exclusive genetic lottery. In fact, most people who rely on those things eventually fail. The real difference between the mediocre and the master is the answer to one question: what are you willing to do when no one is watching? Today, we dive into the Nietzschean secret to skill acquisition, the philosophy of deep work, and the mental frameworks that turn a beginner into a pro, even if you're currently completely unskilled. This is the art of exceptional performance, and it is entirely within your control. The modern world is obsessed with two lies: immediate results and innate talent. You watch a master, whether it's an artist or an entrepreneur, and you dismiss their success with the easiest word in the vocabulary of the fearful: talent. But that word is a poison. It gives you permission to quit. If they have talent and you don't, why even try? This is where the philosophy of process over person must take over. The great German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche was utterly ruthless in his dismissal of this idea, calling it the myth of the sudden miracle. He argued that what we call genius is simply the accumulation of countless, invisible, small choices made over years. When you fail to achieve something, you blame your nature. Nietzsche forces you to look at your method. Are you respecting the craft? Or are you treating your goal like a casual fling? Most people want the prestige of being good, but they don't want the drudgery of the work. They multitask, they scroll, they quit at the first sign of friction. They disrespect the process. The first fundamental step to mastery is this: stop treating the work like a means to an end. Start treating the work as the end itself. If this content is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. So, how do the truly great respect the craft? They build an obsession with the basics. Think about any field. The world's best golfer still practices putting. The Michelin star chef still spends time perfectly sharpening his knives. Why? Because the fundamentals are the ground floor of the entire structure. If the fundamentals are weak, the entire skyscraper of your skill is destined to collapse. Let's look at the artist Katsushika Hokusai, the man whose name you might not know, but whose work you certainly do. The Great Wave off Kanagawa. Hokusai didn't paint the Great Wave in his youth. He painted it at the age of 73. For decades, he had lived by the simple motto: every stroke is a practice stroke. He produced over 30,000 artworks in his lifetime. 30,000 pieces of work. How many do you know? You know one, maybe two. The world remembers the single, spectacular result. But the artist's life was defined by the 30,000 repetitions that came before it. He didn't chase virality. He chased perfection in the shadows. The truly exceptional realize that the basic exercise, the dull, monotonous repetition, is not a barrier to greatness. It is the path. You must become so intimate with the mundane details that they disappear into your unconscious competence. This leads us to the heart of the philosophy of mastery, the love of repetition. Most people are driven by results or applause. They are motivated only when the scoreboard is ticking or when the audience is clapping. But what happens when you're tired? When you're bored? When the progress stalls and there's no praise? You quit. The philosopher of repetition understands that the most crucial phase of learning is not the initial excitement, but the plateau of boredom. This is where 99% of people drop off. This is where mastery is either forged or forgotten. To escape this trap, you must perform a psychological shift. You must fall in love with the act of repetition itself, not the result it produces. Think of it like this. The sculptor doesn't pick up the hammer because he loves the final statue. He picks up the hammer because he finds dignity, focus, and meaning in the act of striking the chisel. He commits to the repetition. This commitment creates a phenomenon that is the most valuable asset you can develop: uninterruptible flow. When you commit to the dull, boring, essential repetition, your mind stops fighting the task. It stops asking, "Is this good enough?" or "When will this be over?" Instead, it simply asks, "How can I make this single repetition better?" This process is the creation of your competitive advantage. It's the ability to sit with the same, non-flashy task longer and more intensely than anyone else. Your competitors are looking for hacks. You are simply doing the work. So, if you feel unskilled right now, if you feel like a beginner, I have news for you. Good. The beginner has the greatest opportunity. You are simply standing at the edge of a vast process. Do not let the feeling of being unskilled trick you into thinking you are unqualified. You are qualified the moment you make the choice to respect the craft. Your goal is not to be a master tomorrow. Your goal is to be better than you were yesterday. Reframe boredom. When the work feels tedious, recognize it as the crucible of mastery. This is where your advantage is built. Define your basics. What are the 3 non-negotiable fundamentals of your craft? Commit to executing them perfectly every time. Embrace the shadow. Work for the sake of the work. Let the results, the applause, the recognition, be the side effects of an already complete and worthy process. Hokusai kept painting. He kept working on the basics for 70 years until he produced the definitive masterpiece. You have your own great wave to paint. Stop waiting for talent. Stop waiting for luck. Start respecting the craft. If this idea, the idea of process over person, resonates with you, then you are a fellow seeker of self-mastery. Hit the subscribe button right now and join the Psychethos community. We are building the mental resilience required to thrive in a world obsessed with distraction. And I want to know, what is the one fundamental, boring repetition you are committed to mastering this week? Leave a comment below and share your commitment. Your challenge starts now.